Let me show you how to create a text reveal animation as well as set button interactivity in this Adobe Animate tutorial. Follow along as I'll go over how to animate this web advertisement for a fictional artist while also applying a motion tween with a mask to create this text animation. I'll also go over how to add button interactivity with an action to go to a web page. So let's jump right into this lesson and start creating. Alright, let's get started. The first thing we want to do is create a new document in Adobe Animate. So I'll click the Create New button, which will bring up the Create New Document window here. From the selections up top, let's choose Advanced, and then select HTML5 Canvas. In the width field, let's make that 672 pixels, and in the height, we'll make that 560 pixels. The units will remain on pixels, and the frame rate, we'll change that to 30 frames per second. Once you have those settings in place, go ahead and click Create. Now that I have my new document set up, I'd like to bring in an Illustrator file and import it right into my canvas here. I've built a digital ad for a fictional artist in Illustrator, and you'll notice in the Layers panel I have all the contents on separate layers. This will make it easier to animate later on in Animate. So I have the headline, some other text, the main image, a background. You can see them all highlighted here in the Layers panel. So I'm going to close this because we'll import it through Animate, but I just wanted to show you the actual design here. So I'm going to close that. I don't have to save it. I'm going to go back to Animate here. Now to import it, just go to File, Import, and then Import to Stage. I'm going to select the Illustrator file here. It's called artist_design. That's what it'll be called in your download folder. By the way, you can find that in the description below. I'm going to click Open. And once this window shows up, you'll notice that you have all the layers here, but it's important to have this selected. So have the Select All Layers checked. Once you do that, just click Import, and you'll see that the Illustrator file is placed in the canvas with all the layers still intact. Now you can see some of the shape hanging out. So if you want to work with that masked out of the workspace, just click on this icon up here, Clip Content Outside of the Stage. That's why it's not that important to do it in Illustrator, because once you bring it into Animate, you're able to do that and work with that hidden from the canvas. Now, as I mentioned, you could see if I pulled up the timeline here, all the layers from my Illustrator file have been placed in my Animate document here, which is very helpful. And so I want this entire sequence to play out at, let's make it 8 seconds for now. So in your timeline, just scroll over to about the 8-second mark, click on the first frame here, hold your Shift key and click on the last one, and then you can just press F5 on your keyboard, and that just creates blank frames. So it's now an 8-second timeline. Okay, so that's important as we're animating as well. The first step is adding a mask to this text so that the text comes out with a reveal. I'm just going to lock this image for now. And so we're going to focus on the main headline for now. So remember, anything that you want to animate or anything that you're going to be adding a motion tween or a classic tween to, it's important to go ahead and convert those to symbols. So to do that, you can see these are both, they're both grouped, and that's okay. You can right click and then just go down to Convert to Symbol. And let's just call this main headline. And the type in this case will be movie clip. We don't want that to be a button. So main headline, movie clip type, and just click OK. And you can see now that is one item together. And so now I'm going to show you how to add a mask to have a text reveal when this animation plays. I'm going to set up another layer which will become our mask layer in the timeline. And to do that, just click on the new layer icon or the plus symbol. And let's rename this layer Mask. It's important to place that layer right above the one that you're masking. So in this case, it's the main headline, Tabitha Kelly, okay? Now, while you're still on the mask layer, go ahead and click on the rectangle frame tool and draw a box that covers her name. Now you want the right side of that box to be pretty close to her face, but not not over it. So I think that's good because that's where the text will reveal from the right side of the box there, okay? Once you have that set up, right-click the mask layer and choose Mask. Now you'll see that that box disappears. Once I unlock this layer, you can see that the box is still there, okay? Now there's some work to do here because I want to animate the main headline to reveal out of that frame. So in this case, I just want to unlock the main headline layer. I'm going to click it, okay? I'm going to click on the transform tool or the selection tool, and I want to right click and create a motion tween just on that layer, okay? You can see that the mask layer is still locked. Now I want this to start at about 1 second, maybe. We can always change that after. And with your either your selection tool or your free transform, what I want to do is I'm going to move that to the right, and that's okay if it's covering our subject right now. Once I lock that layer, it will not reveal again, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. I'm going to move the playhead to about, let's do the 45 frame mark here and create another keyframe. And in this case, I'm just going to move it right back. I'm holding my shift key, so something like that is fine, okay? And you can see it's created a motion path there. And if let's go ahead and lock that layer again, the main headline. And you can see I can play that, and Tabitha Kelly has now revealed in that mask that we set up. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning and press return or enter on Windows, and you can see that we've went ahead and masked, created a text reveal animation to begin. Let's go ahead and have her animate to start. So Tabitha Kelly comes in at the beginning, followed by her name, and then I'll show you how to add some button interactivity to this download button here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the main image layer. That's because I want to add an animation to the main image. I'm going to right click and I'm going to convert to symbol. I'm going to rename this main image, and the type can stay as a movie clip. Go ahead and click OK. And then I'm going to right click the image again, and I'm going to choose create motion tween. Let's move the playhead to about the 15 frame mark and click that frame on the main image layer. And let's add or insert a new keyframe. You can do that by clicking this icon here. Let's move the playhead right back to the beginning and then click that first frame in the layer. While holding shift and on your free transform tool, just drag her right out of the canvas until you don't see it anymore. And you can see if I move the playhead, the image will appear once the animation begins, but I want her to kind of come in with a subtle fade in effect. So what I'll do is click the first keyframe and go to the Object tab in the Properties panel, and under Color Effects, let's choose Alpha, and I have it set to 15%, which is fine. And you'll see if I move the playhead now, I have to actually click the second keyframe and make that back to 100%. Okay, so now we have a nice fade in animation when the image appears. So I think the time in between when she is fully appeared in the animation to when the text animates is a little too long. So I'm going to bring that closer. So once that finishes at the 15 frame mark, I want the text to reveal at the 20 frame mark. So I'm going to click that first frame, hold my shift key, click the second, and then just click anywhere and drag it to the 20 frame mark. So let's see how that looks now. If I go back and press return, you can see she comes in and then the text animates. And so that's going to play out for 8 seconds. And if you were to publish this after, it'll play at 8 seconds and then it'll just loop through. I'm just going to bring that back to 8 seconds. And you can see that she comes in and then the text animates. So as a last step, what I want to show you is how to add button interactivity to add a hover appearance to the download button, as well as have an action for it to go to a web page. So let's do that next. I'm going to click on the selection tool and then click on the download button on the canvas. I'm going to right click and choose convert to symbol. I'm going to name the symbol download button, and just make sure that you change the type from movie clip to button and then just click OK. I'm going to double click on the download button and you'll notice that it takes me to an entirely different timeline with 4 states: up, over, down, and hit. Now by default, the up state already has a keyframe inserted. So I'm going to click on the second one and insert a keyframe. So the over state will just be the hover appearance on this button. So I want to change the color of the background of this button here. So I'm going to double click again, and because it's grouped, I'll double click yet again and then click on it. I'm going to click on the fill color here, and I have a color that I've copied. I'm going to paste that in. Okay. And once you've done that, just click out and then go back to the group or the download button. And you'll notice that if I go to the first state, there's the original color. And then the second state will have that hover appearance. Okay. So the down state would be on click. So if you wanted the button to change on click to another color, you could change it to that. And then the hit state would be if it was just a text. Let's just say it was a text button, you would create another box or frame around that, and then you could create a hit where it would be invisible on the ad, and even if you give it a color on here, it wouldn't appear, but that's what a hit would be. In this case, we don't need a hit, we don't need the down click state either. That's why I just want this clean up and over state on this button. So once you've done that, let's just go back to scene 1. Next, we'll add the interactivity to our button, and for this, we'll need the Actions panel. To access that, go up to Window and choose Actions. That'll bring up this window here, where we'll click on the Code Snippets icon. Those are the 2 brackets there. Click that, and that'll bring up the Code Snippets window as well. Now, before we go any further, we have to add an instance name to our button. So click on it once, which we already have. And in the upper right-hand corner in the Properties panel, you'll see here a field called Instance Name. Now you'll see it's a button here. And let's just call this Download. Let's just call the download underscore BTN is fine. And then just hit enter. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and add the action to this. Now you'll notice in the Code Snippets window, there's 2 folders. One is Action Script and one is HTML5 Canvas. Let's focus on the HTML5 Canvas. Go ahead and drop that down or collapse it, and then collapse the Actions subfolder here, and you'll see some actions here. The one we want to focus on is click to go to web page. So I'm just going to simply double click that, and you'll notice that it automatically creates code for you. And here it is here, window open, and there's the default website is adobe.com. We'll just leave it on that for now, only because there isn't a website to go for this particular design. So I think adobe.com is just fine. But of course, if you wanted to change that, you could. And once you've done that, we can go ahead and test this. So I'm just going to close the Actions panel and the Code Snippets as well. And again, to test your work in a web browser to see it on your computer, just go ahead and press Command on Mac, Control on Windows, and Return or Enter. That'll open it in a web browser here, and I'll just maximize that. So let me just refresh. There's our animation that comes in, and there's our button with the hover state. And then if I click it, it will take me to the Adobe website. But of course, you could change that how I showed you in the code snippets in Adobe Animate. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create a text reveal animation and set button interactivity using Adobe Animate. If you found it helpful, leave a like or comment below, and while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay up to date with all my latest content. If you'd like to learn how to create an animated infographic using Adobe Animate, check out this video right up here. Until next time, take care and keep creating.